Good day, everyone. A warm welcome to our esteemed guests, speakers, and attendees. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the Fireside with our expert panel on the new Black Entrepreneurship Program, BEP. My name is Aoife, and I feel highly honored and privileged to be your host today. For the best virtual experience, please mute yourself upon entry into the room. And if you are joining in with a friend, please avoid using separate devices to avoid feedback. If you have low internet bandwidth, you can solve any buffering issues by prioritizing audio over video. At this point, the Zoom room has reached its capacity, so I urge those joining us to connect with our live channels on Facebook and YouTube. I encourage you to put your name and location in the chat room, and please feel free to also share the links with your community groups so all your networks can benefit from today's event. This is an interactive session, so please engage with us. We want to hear what you have to say and any questions you might have for our panelists. You can send your questions either to us on Instagram. Our IG is on the screen at EntrepreneursPP, and you can use the chat below, or you can go to slido.com and use the code 74749 to engage with us. So while I give the attendees time to ask their questions, I would love to know where you're joining us from. Please drop your comments in the below. I'm currently streaming live and on demand all the way from Milton, Ontario. So do we have any Halton people tuning in today? Let me just quickly look into the chat. Okay, so I'm looking on YouTube. I see someone saying they're from Ottawa, so welcome. I see someone from Mississauga. I love to see it. Thank you for joining us. I'm really excited. This Q&A session is also an opportunity for us to learn from one another. So what are you looking forward to learning today? I know I'm excited because I want to learn how I, as a Black entrepreneur, can take advantage of the new amazing funding programs from the Government of Canada. Lastly, what has your experience been with grant applications or funding resources? Please drop your answers in the chat below. We would love to hear your thoughts. This event is brought to you by Entrepreneurs Point, downtown Toronto's newest incubator for startups and businesses looking to create ideas for revenue. It is a space where you can collaborate, share experiences, and get inspiration from other members and entrepreneurs such as yourself. You can learn more about Entrepreneurs Point by following our social media at EntrepreneursPP on Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, or visiting our website at www.entrepreneurspoint.com. So at this point, dear esteemed participants, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our Fireside panelists to you. Let's just get straight to the point. Our special guests today are practicing entrepreneurs, founders, professionals. They're also adjunct and faculty members at EP Academy, the business school of Entrepreneurs Point. So they bring you with cumulative experience of their years as scholar practitioners. So first is one of our Black community leaders, Dr. Olutoyin Oyelade, president of Casa Foundation, founder of Friends of Africa, and a serial entrepreneur who has founded many ventures in Canada and beyond. You can connect with Dr. Olu on any social media platform and also visit her website, olutoyinoyelade.com. We also have Cheryl Bedard, a CFP and co-founder of Bedard Associates, whose knowledge base encompasses marketing, sales, and branding across a wide spectrum of industries. Cheryl teaches financial literacy at EP Academy and will be engaging in the chat with you. So please look for her in the chats. And last but not least, we have Yannick Lefang, the founder of Kasi Insights, that's KASI, a consumer economic and market data platform serving investors in Africa. He was recently appointed as a CFO at Bayer Industries. Our moderator at today's Fireside is Rennie Odetoyinbo, a marketing manager with the Bank of Montreal. Rennie will engage with us in a few minutes. But right now, I will pass the spotlight onto our panelist, Dr. Olutoyin, who will give us a few insights about the Black Entrepreneurship Program. So let's just welcome Dr. Olutoyin Oyelade as she comes up. Oh, Dr. Olutoyin, it looks like your video isn't broadcasting. You might just want to double check that you're off mute and that we can all hear you. Thank you.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, perfectly.
And the video is running well, thank you.
Yes, you look great.
Thank you so much. All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think if you'll be kind enough, I'm told that you have a lot of people in the waiting room. Since the room is full, is there an announcement that can be made for everyone to go into the other platform? I am told that we have almost another 50 people and we're no longer able to admit other people into the Zoom room. Can you quickly make that announcement? Because the folks that are waiting, we don't want them to miss anything. Yeah?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
So our social media people will be dropping the links over capacity so you can connect with us. An email has been sent out to let you know where you can, or you can just search up Entrepreneurs Point on YouTube if you are trying to see the broadcast. But yeah, it has been sent out for the people who are trying to get in.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's such a pleasure to have you here with us this afternoon. It's such a pleasure. It's such a joy. And I really thank you for honoring the invitation. The Black Entrepreneurship Program is the major focus today. And we will be discussing, the 3 tranches of that particular program as, introduced by the federal government of Canada. What is the Black Entrepreneurship Program? I mean, the program itself was launched on the 9th of September, 2020. And the Black Entrepreneurship Program is a partnership between the government of Canada and the private sector of Canada. Private sector representing businesses in Canada, entrepreneurs, startup groups, nonprofit organizations, charitable organizations, and the very well-established businesses. The Black Entrepreneurship Program is an investment of $221 million for over 4 years. It is expected to help Black Canadian business owners and entrepreneurs to grow and succeed. The Black Entrepreneurship Program has 3 components. The first of which is the National Ecosystem Fund. The National Ecosystem Fund is a total of $53 million, and it is designed to serve various organizations within the Black ecosystems of support. Applicants can apply for up to $5 million by submitting a concept note on their projects. The program will be delivered by Canada's regional development agencies across the country. And so for those in Ontario province, for instance, that will be the FinDev. The Ecosystem Fund aims to help not-for-profit organizations that are Black-led. And I'm sure in the process of, in the course of our discussions this afternoon, we're going to be talking more about what it means to be a Black-led organization and what the government actually intends, the intention of the government when, the government refers to a Black-led organization, and perhaps some of the few details that have been provided to some of the people that have been attending some of these meetings over the course of the months while this was in process. The Ecosystem Fund will aim to support these non-for-profit organizations to develop, to expand, to grow their businesses, and to support other well-established businesses in operations, already in operations. It won't apply to businesses that have just been recently opened. The Ecosystem Fund also will serve as a business advisory service to Black entrepreneurs and business owners. And this means that it will strengthen their capacity to provide some sort of support, financial planning services, and business training to Black entrepreneurs and other Black businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, do permit me to pause at this point to have other people come into the room, particularly because we keep receiving a few messages from here and there about other people that are yet to come into the room. And so I will pause for a bit and then have tech team roll roll some of the messages while we allow some of these people come into the room. While they're doing that, I can also go on and keep running through the intentions of the funds while our tech team is going on with that. The second fund in the tranche of the Black Entrepreneurship Program is the Black Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub. What is the Black Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub? The Black Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub is a $5 million investment. That's a 5 million Canadian dollars in investment, even for each of the organizations that will be applying and are approved after the application. So it will be a grant of $5 million that is expected to be expended and dispersed over a four-year term. A four-year term, and the program will be delivered by the Innovation, Science and Economic Development Government of Canada. The third fund is a loan fund, and the loan fund, that's the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund, is a total of $33 million, and the $33 million will also be delivered through the ISED, which is the Innovation, Science and Economic Development Program of the Government of Canada. And the program is expected to support Canadian business owners, that's Canadian business and financial institutions. An application is yet to open for the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund. The application is yet to be opened. On November 23rd, the Minister of Small Businesses and the Export Promotion and International Trade, that's the Honorable Mary Ng. If you give me a second, please. Yeah, the Honorable Mary Ng made the announcement on the 23rd of November. And upon the announcement of the launch of the Black Entrepreneurship Fund, a call for concepts was made for the Black ecosystem and members of the community and constituents within the community of the Black community to begin to plan to make their applications. The plan is to focus on the National Ecosystem Fund today. Our plan is to focus on the National Ecosystem Fund today. It is important that we note that because there are 3 tranches in the program. The 3 tranches in the program will ensure that each person has an option, and each group, community funders, they have options to choose from the National Ecosystem Fund, that is the 53 million, and then the loan fund, that is 33 million, and then also the Black Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub Fund, that's a total of 93 million. In terms of, there are a few questions that we're seeing in the chat room. So what I think I would do at this point, is to have our MC announce again for all the other people that are joining in, since the room is already full, to put the other channels on the chat room so that people can join through the YouTube, and they can just launch in through the YouTube account. Other platforms are available right now through the chat room, so that people can go into all of these other rooms, and then they can actually have a good experience with this. Some of the questions that we're seeing in the chat room will be some of those ones that we will answer in the course of the fireside. So for instance, I see something like, what does Black-led mean? I think I'll be taking those questions at some point. So I think I'm going to take it over, just turn it over to the moderator for today, if you permit me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Olu, for that. And thank you everyone for joining us today. If you are trying to get into the Zoom room, make sure that you go onto YouTube or Facebook, because you can go there because the Zoom room is currently full. So thank you everyone once again. My name is Rennie Adetoyinbo, as Ife introduced me. I will be your moderator for today. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them either on Slido, The link is in the chat on YouTube and on Facebook. And then you can also ask in the chat directly, or you can ask on our Instagram page. So our speakers for today are Dr. Olu and Yannick. So if we can spotlight their videos so that we can see them. We have received a lot of questions ahead of time, so I will just start with those. And if you do have other questions, make sure that you leave them in the chat and I will make sure that we get them answered for you. So we have Dr. Olu. Do we also have Yannick?
Yes, hello.
Okay, perfect. Welcome.
Yes, I'm on the Kumi Saliu, I think.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. So one of the first questions that we have today is, what does it actually mean to be a Black-led organization? So either Dr. Olu or Yannick, maybe one of you can answer that.
Okay, I can take that. So in terms of, I provided the intro that in this particular session today, we will be talking about the National Ecosystem Fund. So that's actually going to be our focal point. There are 3 tranches, like I mentioned earlier. The Black Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub of a total of $5 million investment for a 4-year period. The loan fund, the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund, a total of $33 million with applications of $5,000 to $250,000 for businesses that are already established before the date of launch, before the date of this announcement. That's what I mean by that. And so the one that we're focusing on today is the Black Entrepreneurship National Ecosystem Fund. And why are we doing that today? Because the application already opened on the 3rd of December and the application closes on the 21st of December for this particular fund. Now, what does Black-led mean? Black-led organizations, by the definition of the Canadian, in terms of this particular fund, the Black-led organization would be an organization that is predominantly led by Black people who identify themselves as Black people, Afro-Caribbean, Africans, Black Canadians, Black generally. And then when they self-identify as Black people, then it means that the leadership positions are primarily occupied by people who also self-identify as Black in their leadership position within the organization and the governance structure, the board level, and they are predominantly Black, and that would be like 2/3 of the leadership. 2/3, about 66% will be 2/3 of the entire leadership, of the entire board, of the entire governance structure, and the workforce. Of course, that then ensures that there's still another 33% or thereabouts that can actually offer support services, offer some skills and competencies that might be required in the process of administering the funds, because they understand that there will be a repertoire of skills, knowledge, and competencies within the community that should be in a position to help to deliver and administer the fund. Aside from that, the Black-led organization also means that these particular and specific organizations are in the position to serve Black entrepreneurs, Black NPOs, nonprofit organizations, Black business owners, and that their services are specifically dedicated towards serving and meeting the needs of these groups of people within the community. And so this is a definition of a Black-led organization, and this cuts across the entire country, Canada, for the purpose of this fund. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the thorough answer. My main takeaway from that was that the deadline is December 21st, so everyone should be looking into getting their applications in. So another question that we received was, how long does a Black-led business have to be in operation in order to qualify for funding? So either Yannick or Dr. Olu, if you want to answer that question.
Okay, for there's no specific timeline. What is important is that the organization need to be in operations before the launch date. So the announcement was made on the 9th of September by the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau. And so the idea then is you need to have been, as an organization, you need to have been in operations before the announcement, or at least the day before the announcement, something like that. Although I do understand also that there might be a few considerations in that regard, because they understand that there might be a few other groups that are coming together as collaborators. We possibly might be explaining if you have a question in that regard today. So there might be some groups coming together as collaborators. And because these groups are coming together as collaborators, a few of them may actually be in formation right now. And so there might be a possibility that such groups, as long as they are not the principal, the principal applicant, there is a possibility that such groups might also be allowed. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Our next question is, what are the main challenges that people are finding with the application?
What are the few challenges that people are having with the application right now?
The main challenges that someone would face with an application.
With an application, I'm not sure. Yannick,
so maybe, I can jump in here. I think some of the main challenges, obviously, with this type of application would be to make sure that you follow the guidelines, right? So obviously, the government has put a lot of information online in terms of, what are the requirements, what are the outcomes that they're looking for in terms of these specific programs, and basically what are the criteria. So you have to make sure that you are in line with what the government is looking for in terms of criteria. And then because they have obviously eligibility, they have criteria that they're going to look at when they evaluate this application. So one of the challenges is to obviously make sure that you go over that information and really make sure that your application reflects the purpose of the fund, but also that you also meet all the requirements. Whether you need to be, as Dr. Therese said, a Black-owned, a Black-led organization, whether you have, an existence, whether you can actually prove that, you've been in existence, whether you have proper governance, and all that. So that's why, you have to make sure that you read the guidelines properly, and before you apply.
Perfect. And going along with that, somebody actually asked, where can I find all the details is there a document that outlines all of these guidelines that we should follow? And where can I find it?
I believe there is a link to the Government of Canada website, and I believe maybe your team can put it on the chat room. But it's part of the Government of Canada. They have basically a link, Black entrepreneurship programs, and then within that, so if you go on the innovation, science, and economic development, they have the programs, and then they have the Black entrepreneurship program, and then within that, you have all the different funds that they've allocated. And so you have the National Ecosystem Fund, which is what we're talking about today. You also have the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund, which is to be announced, I believe, in the beginning of the year, which is more geared towards for-profit organization versus the National Ecosystem Fund, which is more for non-profit. And then you have the Black Entrepreneurship Knowledge, which is a program that's supposed to combine Black organization with educational institutions.
Thank you, Yannick. That was very helpful. And I see somebody has actually dropped the link in the chat. So Perfect. This is on Zoom. So on Facebook and on YouTube, we will also drop the link in the chat so you can see exactly where all of those details are. The next question that we have is, how many applications are expected and what are the expectations for the outcome?
Now, when you have applications, it's not unusual to have, as many as, because it's a call for concepts. You see, so there's actually no specific number. What is important is every application will be taken as long as those applications are submitted as and when due. And the due date, as we keep announcing, which is why we're having this session today, The due date is the 21st of December, 2 p.m. Very important to note the timing because it's the federal government. There's a propensity that there will be a stickler for punctuality, so they're possibly going to cut it off once it's 2 p.m. So we encourage everybody to send in their applications before 2 p.m. by 1 p.m. at the latest. What is important is it is a call for concepts. It is not a call for proposals. So they're two different things.
Okay, great. So everyone has heard that. Make sure that you get your application in by December 21st at 2 p.m. Do not miss this. It's a great opportunity to get funding for your business. Another question that we had was, so what is a good concept? And I will direct this one to Yannick to answer.
So I guess the notion of having a concept note is for the government or the funder to have a good understanding of what your project is. So it's usually, I think they recommend, 2,500 words. So about 5 pages where you would describe, your concept, your project, where you would describe the activities that you're going to run, where you're going to describe the expected outcome. And so it's very important to make sure that, your concept note is, again, in line with what the government intent or the program intent is, and that you can show very succinctly how you're gonna make it happen. So who's gonna be part of the team, who's gonna do what are the activities, and so on and so forth. And also, so they have a few also on the website, on the government website, they have a few guidelines in terms of what should be included in the concept note, and how they would actually rank these applications based on the concept note. So concept note, again, it's one of the main document that they will be using to filter out application and eligibility. So it's very important to make sure that you really take the time to put together a good concept note. One of the things that they're also looking at is how you're going to describe, plans for future sustainability after the project is completed. So these are, again, programs for NGO, non-for-profit, but again, the government is looking obviously at, after you receive the funding, what's how is this program or this project become sustainable, so it doesn't have to rely on government funding in the future. So again, all that information is available on the website that was shared. We strongly recommend to go over that and make sure when you do your concept note that you go back and check that you've met every single requirement that is on the website. So again, they're going to look at eligibility, whether you meet the criteria. Are you a Black-led organization, for example? They're going to look at alignment. How is your concept aligning with the program and the fund and the intent outcome? Your experience and capacity, are you able to deliver that? So that's where, whether it's your own organization or whether you strategically partner with another organization that has maybe the capacity, will strengthen your application or your concept note, and also the feasibility, of the project. So that's what I can say for concept note.
Great, thank you. So what I got from that was the eligibility is obviously very important, but also how your concept, the alignment of your concept, and then the experience that you have and the ability to keep it sustainable past, even after funding from the government. Those are all very important things to consider when you are submitting. Another question that we had is, can a for-profit business partner with a nonprofit business to get funding? Dr. Olu, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So you have different categories of partners. So there are different definitions, So you have the group called the collaborators. You have the group called the partners, the collaborators, the supporters. There's a possibility that all might actually come together as a consortium, a group of partners, as it were. So for the National Ecosystem Funds, which we're talking about today, which is a focal point, that fund allows you to apply for a total of 5 million. And the 5 million is administered over a period for a term of 4 years. So the expectation largely, so up to means that you can actually apply for 5,000. It just depends on the need. So the more groups come together, then the larger the application can become. And the more strength, there's a lot of strength in collaboration. So from our interactions and from the feedback that we have gotten from the various meetings that have been held, the fact remains that it's not a rule of the thumb, but the fact remains that it might help to collaborate more, with businesses. So for-profit businesses will come in, they can't apply, but they can come in as a supporting organization. So when you are supporting, so they fall under that supporting organization because they're a business, and they're going to possibly provide some advisory services based on the experience, based on the marketing strategy, based on the research that have been conducted over time. And so they might be able to pull together these resources and make it available to the NPOs that will be applying for the funds. So in that case, then the NPO can actually list the for-profit business as its own supporting organization. That becomes very critical because then when such an application is being reviewed, then it becomes very clear that the applicant has a lot of ecosystems of support. Remember, the name of the fund itself is the the Black Entrepreneurship National Ecosystem Fund, because the idea is to ensure that within the community, there are ecosystems of support from the business side, from the NPO side, from the charitable organization side, and so on. So what I believe is that the more groups come together, the better, I think, to my mind, the better the application might look. And so supporting organizations will come in there. And then maybe let me quickly say then that in terms of collaborators, remember I mentioned that you might have what you call the collaborator, the group of collaborators, the group of supporters, and the group of partners. The collaborators then will be all those other ones that you work together, writing, the groups writing the application for you. Remember, this is a concept note, and all the other groups that will be logistic providers, and so on. So they will fall under the support group and the collaborators. If I can quickly add to the question on the concept note, I see that, I'm not sure because I see somebody has already answered the concept note question. But one other thing they mentioned to us is the fact that a concept note, this is a call for concepts and not a call for proposals as we're all used to. So I reckon there are a few people in the room today with us that are quite used to making applications with the government or for grants and so on. And usually the application would be it would be in form of a call for proposals. But this is not so. And the reason it's not so is because through a concept, a call for concept, they believe that they'll be able to gather more information on what the needs, the major needs within the community are. What are the needs that need to be met by the government right now? What are the priorities of the Black community? And they believe that if they restrain us to writing a proposal, and usually the proposal will have all of the constraints of word limit and page limit and things like that. The concept note is more flexible. And so this is exactly the reason why they have allowed us to present concept notes. And so this will be the stage one of the application, the concept note. And so people can actually put in as many ideas as the idea, and flesh it up and pour it up with a lot of ideas, strategies, actionable plans that they have that they want to put in place for the project to be executed. So that's why it is a concept note. And the concept note is actually 8 solid pages, which you wouldn't have when it is a call for proposal. So that flexibility gives us some leeway. Thank you.
That's great to know. And thank you so much for clarifying. We just building on the partnering between nonprofits and for-profit companies. Somebody asked, can a Canadian nonprofit collaborate with an American nonprofit organization?
I don't have any I don't have the answer to that right on top of my head, but we can find out, and that's why we have this group. So it's important, again, like we mentioned, for people to log into the YouTube channel also, even if you're on this, because what that does for you is most of the questions, you remember how the Zoom link works. After we're done with the meetings, you won't have the opportunity to see some of the answers, but through the YouTube channel, if you sign into that, then immediately we begin to provide some of the answers, as some of the questions are also coming in from that part. Then we can also provide some answers through the YouTube channel, which will be live continuously. So we would get more clarifications on that. Although, if you remember, the structure of the fund is that it's for Black Canadians, but I know that because the Black-led organizations in Canada is meant to be 2/3 and then 33% others. Now we're not sure. I didn't ask that question, so I'm not sure of the answer, but we can provide some clarity on that within the week, within the next week. Yeah.
Great. So everyone, make sure you tune in on the YouTube channel as well, so that you can get the answer for that. So another question from Brian is, can a for-profit sole proprietorship that was established in October be eligible for funding?
In October, I can't speak to the mind of the government on that, but remember, I did make some clarifications that the rule is that you should actually be in operations before the announcement was made. The announcement was made on the 9th of September. And so the expectation is that perhaps you would have registered before the 9th of September. But having said that, I also do know that because this is a specific palliative measure grant specifically targeted towards the Black community, there is no gainsaying the fact that there might be a few people, a few groups looking to collaborate. They might also have been in existence for a bit or in operations, and they are looking to collaborate. And so the name of the collaboration or the collaborative partner may actually be information. I think that they might look at such situations, scenarios where several groups have come together to form a collaborative group and so on. I think they might be willing to look at that. That becomes another question that we need to ask from the directorate that we're communicating with, and then we'll get back also on the YouTube again in the course of the week. So we'll note that as a second question. Thank you.
Great. Another reason to go on YouTube, and you will get the answers there. So another question that we have is a business tax return required to qualify for funding? So I assume you can read this all on the government website, where you can find out what details are required, but maybe Dr. Olu, you can answer, or Yannick.
Could you please go through that question again for me?
Yes. Is a business tax return required to qualify for funding?
Absolutely, because you need your audited accounts. So I reckon that would be a requirement, because let me quickly clarify that the partner that they're talking about here, the lead partner. So in a collaboration, remember again, we're talking about maybe 5,000 to 5 million. So for some groups, they can just go in, apply for the 5,000, present the project, and that is okay to go. For some other groups, their need may be 10,000, other groups 5, 6, 7. You understand what I mean? So depending on the amount, for 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 10,000, I reckon the expectation is that a notice to reader will be good. That's in form of your accounting. So there's what you call your financial accounts at the end of the year, the annual year, and that is actually filed to the CRA. So the financial year, your notice of reader is filed. So it's not an audited account. It's just a compilation of the activities of the organization, and that is just adequate. However, when you begin to go or make an application for upwards of 100,000, and so on, 250, then there are specific requirements, and this is also in the link that we already put on the chat. And those links will also be replicated. They are also in the YouTube channel, and so you can actually go into the YouTube channel and check out the links that are there, the various resources that are on the YouTube channel. So at the end of the day, if you have filed your financial accounts, your notice to reader, it actually is automatic then that a tax return would have been filed. So that it's just automatic from your accountant. But the difference is that while some would require a public licensed accountant, some amounts for the application will require a notice to reader, meaning you don't need a public licensed accountant. I hope it's clear.
Yes, that was very clear. Thank you for clarifying. Another question that we have is the loan for a business a zero interest loan, or what, if not, what is the interest rate for the loan?
All right, thank you for that. Yannick, do you want me to go on?
Yes, please go on. Go on, Doctor.
All right, thanks. So for the loan fund, the details of the loan fund has not been provided, is yet to be provided. So we actually don't know what is coming out. And that's why it's yet to open. So application for the loan fund is yet to open. So everyone note that that is yet to open. We're going to call for and send you links again for another meeting once that opens, so that we can also provide some clarifications based on these various meetings to people that are interested at that point. The loan fund is a total of $33 million, and it will also be applied to the Black-led community, groups within the Black community that are also Black-led. The difference between the loan fund, as it clearly depicts, is the fact that it is a loan, and so there will be interest. The interest is yet to be determined, but we are believing that it will be, a manageable interest rate that is, what is publicly available, and it's actually going to be administered by the banks, the top banks in Canada. So that actually tells you or gives you an idea of what is what to expect from that, but it's yet to open. Only two have opened now: the Black Entrepreneurship National Ecosystem Fund for the 53 million, and the Black Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub Fund for the 93 million. 5 million up to, the application will be up to 5 million for each category of funds, and it will be held for 4 years, zero interest. But it could be 5,000. So it just depends on the need. We'll be talking about the Black Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub Fund towards the end of the year or early next year, maybe the first week of January. That's when we'll be having the formal session on the briefing for the Black Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub Fund. It's a total of 93 million, because the application for that has opened, but it won't be closing until the 18th of January. So that gives us some time. We just want all of us to focus on this particular one now, which is closing on the 21st, so that gives us more time to collaborate, to find partners, to find people who can help us write maybe some business advisory groups and so on that can assist you, and then some partners that can go along with you, so that the deadline of the 21st of December can be met. We want to finish that, and then we'll come back to the Black Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub Fund towards the end of the year. So thank you.
So to clarify, everyone, make sure that you focus on the funds that are currently available, because this one will be closing shortly. So we want to make sure that we all take advantage of the one that is closing on December 21st, actually. So the next question that we have is, it appears there are only loans which we have to pay back, but not actually any grants, free money to help companies start up or grow. Is this the case, or are there grants available?
There are grants. So that's what I clarified, that there are 3 funds within the Black Entrepreneurship Program. 3 funds. The Black Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Fund, that's a grant.
Okay.
The Black Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub Fund, that's a grant. The Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund is the only loan, and that is yet to open. So the other 2 that are currently open, they are all grants, and they are investments of 5 million each. So they are all, these first 2 are grants. They are not loans, they are grants. The last one, which is the the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund, is the last one. It is yet to open, so we're not even talking about it because we don't have the details of that just yet. So they are all grants. However, although they are grants, there will be reporting requirements, grants. How am I spending the money? Who have I disbursed to? What business? You know what I mean, the regular reporting requirements. So that's why they want an organization that is duly reported, filing a report, tax return, financial statements, so they can look at the history, and then conceptual, the concepts that are being submitted right now can actually be matched to what has been submitted over the years, because they're also mindful of the fact that some of the groups might be new. That's why they also allow the partnership, the collaboration, so that a few groups might want to come together as a consortium to work with other groups that are well versed in the industry, other sector, within the NPO sector. I hope that is clear.
Yes, that is clear. Thank you so much for clarifying. Another question that we have about entrepreneurship Point or Casa Foundation is that, will Casa or Entrepreneurship Point be providing support with filing out applications? And this comes from Francesca.
Okay, thank you for that question. Will they be granting support? Yeah, so this is one of the, because of the work that we do, this is one of the support measures that we thought we could put in place by, holding these sessions and making sure that we ask as many questions as possible, giving us all the links that are required so that we can also access all the resources that we require from the government sources and so on. So these are some of the measures that we put in place. But Cheryl, one of the faculty members of EP Academy, is on this call today. And so you would notice that within the chat room, even as we are answering questions, because a lot of questions are coming in, but Cheryl is also in the chat room answering as many questions as possible and providing some resources. So I noticed she just posted up a list of NGOs in Canada that you can access a master list from them, the ones that are Black-led and so on. And perhaps if you do your review and your research and you believe that there is a goal alignment and you believe that you can work together, perhaps those could be some of the partners that you might want to work with. In terms of support services that we have, Casa Foundation definitely has the advisory office, and so whoever has a need for some measure of advice or pieces of advice outside of this meeting, you can always reach out to us through the info at casafoundation.ca. Maybe one of our team members can actually put the email address in the link, and then Cheryl, who is actually our advisory partner in that regard, will be able to attend to you. But all the emails can come to info@casafoundation.ca, and then we'll link you up with Cheryl, who is the advisory partner within the group.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And Cheryl we'll make sure that all Cheryl's comments are posted on all of the platforms, just so that everyone can have access to them, not just those on Zoom. Another question that we received on YouTube was, if a business was registered before September 9th of 2020, but did not file taxes because the business was started in, say, September of 2020, will the funds still be loaned to the business? I'm not sure if Yannick, you would like to answer this, or?
So if this question is about, again, the loan, we don't know yet, because again, as Dr. Tu, or the grant, either one. Or the grant. So, and again, going back to what Dr. Tu said, if you're a new organization, obviously, and you haven't filed taxes, you're not going to meet some of the requirements. So I think it's safe to say that that's where collaboration is important, where you need to be able to find other organizations maybe that have more history and documented filings to work with you. And so that's what I would advise. Doctor, I don't know if you want to add.
Yeah, absolutely. So I also mentioned earlier that for some of the groups, even if they didn't file, remember that there is always that opportunity to partner and collaborate with another group. So in all of these applications, you have the group that is called the partner. The partner group is called the lead applicant. The lead applicant. So out of 10, you must always have one partner, because only one in every group, whether it's a group of 3, it's a group of 4, it's a group of 10 or 20, only one partner will get the disbursement, the grant disbursement. So they will only disburse the funds to one partner. That partner, it is important, it is imperative, and it is critical that that partner is eligible. so that the concept note doesn't get turned down. Now, everybody can collaborate, put together a very sound paper, a concept note that is effective and that would scale all the hurdles. However, the partner, the lead partner, is the qualifying partner who has been filing the report, who meets all eligibility requirements and the criteria, who has the tax returns. Particularly, they will be focusing on experience. How many years have you been there? What have you done? What is the history? What is your track record? And things like that. So it is important that the lead partner that is chosen or that you go with perhaps has all of this going. It's actually listed on the website too, that has been forwarded to you all. So it's important to note that that lead partner should it should be good standing. I think it's called being in good standing. Yeah, thank you.
Great. So for everyone, if you are a brand new business, make sure you find someone to partner with. And building upon that, do you have a suggestion of how people can, or businesses can find a partner? I know that Cheryl has posted some links to partner with NGOs, but are there any other resources that you would recommend for someone to find a partner who's in good standing?
Yeah, I can answer that. There are a few groups. So you have a few groups that represent the community. I know in the African community, you possibly have NABC, and I think they just had a call for proposal in September, and they are affiliated to York University. So it's called, if I'm correct, National Association of Black Africans, something like that. Something like that. They are affiliated to York University. And so that's a group that is well known. There's another group called BBPA, and the BBPA is the Black Business and Professional Association. Black Business and Professional Association. There's also the group called, so all of these groups, we all work together, and so when these meetings are called, we're there, and so on. Sometimes we work together, and sometimes, So there's also what you call, the group called the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce, the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce. So, however, if you notice, all these groups that I mentioned, perhaps will also, definitely they will be going for the fund, because they are anchor umbrella groups within the Black community. So there's a Casa Foundation, which is us. And so we will be going definitely. But as umbrella groups, how many groups can each of these groups take? Do you understand what I mean? So definitely, because of the amount, a lot of these groups will be taking on a lot of other groups, NPOs, to go along with, but one is not sure the capacity and the limits. And I think some of these limits are actually set by the board of each organization. If you're going to partner, do you want to partner with 20? Do you want to partner with 10? Do you want to partner with 5? What is your capacity and how many can you take? So it behoves on each one of us as groups in the room today to take a decision, perhaps look at the website of each of the groups, look at their, those are groups that we've been meeting anyway. So look at them and see which ones you want to go with. I think those will be decisions that you come to. There are also very small groups that are coming up as a result of this announcement, or that have been meeting with the federal government for a bit, because they envisaged, they anticipated an announcement like this. So there are new groups in town, the Black Opportunity Fund. I'm not sure how many people have heard about them. The Black Initiative, and so on, the Black Women group, and things like that, and groups like that. So these are new groups coming up. Now, I'm not sure if they will meet the criteria, because they are new groups coming up. However, they're solid groups also, and they are actually well structured. You might want to contact them to see if you might be able to go together. There are also smaller groups that have not even been at any of the meetings we're talking about at all, but they've been there, very small groups, but they've been in this sector for a bit. So we know that each community also has their groups. I'm not sure if some of the presidents of the association groups are here today, but I know that we did invite some of the presidents of the various countries and communities. So for instance, there will be the Morocco Association, which is a partner of Casa Foundation and a very active partner of Casa Foundation, the Mali Association. So you have the Mali, Canada Chamber of Commerce, the Morocco Association in Canada. You have the Rwandan Association. I believe they are here in the room today with us, the presidents of each of these associations. We have the Canadian Association of Rwandan Youths. Most of these organizations they're smaller organizations. However, within their constituents, they serve their community in their own capacity, and they're in the room with us today. A few of the associations, the NPOs within the room today that are looking to make applications might want to touch base with these community associations, even before talking about the Chamber of Commerce and so on, because their community associations may be more accommodating and more accepting of their inputs before the Chamber of Commerce, which is very high level, if you get what I mean.
Great, thank you so much. And Cheryl also expanded and said that all the lists of organizations are listed on the internet, so you can find multiple organizations and then just explore which one is best for you. Another question that we have is, what happens to my application after it is submitted? And how flexible is this program? So maybe Yannick can take this one.
So I believe when you submit your application, I think they said that they would, I guess the first step, I think it's within the month, Doctor, if I'm not wrong, that they would.
You're correct.
Yeah, that they would reply, and I believe it's a 2 steps. So they would do a first, I guess the first filter, and then they would do a second one, and in between, I don't know if. On the website, I don't know if it's clear whether a formal proposal after the concept note is going to be required, but you would think that that would be the case, where you would have to put together a formal proposal, and then in terms of, I think start date is March of next year, I believe. So I don't know if you have any more information in terms of the steps, Doctor, around past the concept note.
Yes, yeah. I mean, the information you provided is correct. There will be a second level. So this is the first phase where we're expected to submit the concept note. Like Yannick said, they will come back within the early weeks of next year. And so we reckon that will be around March, like you mentioned. And then there will be the second phase. So only the selected concepts will be invited to the next stage. I mean, as you can imagine, unsuccessful applicants will be notified in writing. And so within the first week of next year, that will be done. But at the second phase, there will be a request, a call for more documents, a call for more additional information. And so remember that it is the regional agencies, regional development agencies that will be managing this. So for instance, for the people who listed on the chat room that they're calling in from Ottawa, you definitely, it will be FINDEF. From the Toronto area, I believe it will be FINDEF for those ones within the Ontario province. So you have other groups that will manage those ones from the western side. This is, I'm going to put that into the chat room now, and I will ask that the group on YouTube watching also should help us put it into the YouTube and the Facebook and all the other groups, the platforms. I'm just going to put the links where you will be submitting to, and the groups that will be getting back. So it is FINDEF definitely that you will need to deal with if you're applying from Ontario province. That's who you need to submit everything to, and they will be calling back to ask for more documents, more information. So for instance, if somebody submits a concept note on setting up an accelerator, and you have listed a group of financial literacy business organizations to deliver lectures at that accelerator, they might want to ask you, what has this business group done before? Can we see a track record? Are they well versed? Do they have the requisite professional staff that would deliver and deliver the lectures and things like that? What have they done? How many people have they graduated from their school or from the sessions that they've had before now? And so on. So these are the kind of questions that we expect. Or for instance, financial statements. Has it been properly signed? Did you submit a notice to reader instead of one that is signed off on by a licensed public accountant. So these are the kind of questions we expect them to ask, but there might be more. We just don't know that yet.
Great, thank you so much. Another question that we have is, what specifically do the funds need to be used for? So someone actually asked if they can be used for consultation or training for their business.
Absolutely. Remember, it's not for business though. It's
either for their nonprofit business.
Oh, for the nonprofit. Yes, absolutely. So in fact, there's a lot of focus, even on the government website. There's a lot of focus on mentorship, incubator services, accelerator services, and training and development, ecosystem support, leading Black youths to understand how to set up new businesses, so that you can, produce more self-employed people instead of people that focus largely on the regular 9-to-5 jobs, I think. So one of the ways and one of the goals and purposes of this initiative is actually to strengthen and empower the Black community, so that not only do people have ventures that they are managing and supporting on a regular basis, they're also increasing their sources of income, and they become employers of labor. So that becomes very critical within the Black community. So you can engage more youths, and make sure that people actually have a purpose that they're running towards on a day-to-day basis. And so if you have funding like this, and you're able to set up a training service or set up a mentorship service, these are some of the things that you expect. I'm going to put that on while you choose more of the questions that you prefer to ask. Just put that up.
Okay, great. So another question that we have right now is, I believe this has been answered, but a lot of people keep asking this question, so we're going to reiterate it. Can a for-profit organization apply if the intent is to provide non-for-profit services? So they are a law firm and they would like to provide free employment and human rights law training to members of their communities. So I know they're technically not a not-for-profit organization, but they want to provide not-for-profit services. So what is your take on that?
Did you specify a sector? Did you specify a sector?
They are a law firm.
Oh, a law firm. Okay. No, because it's very clear. The fund is only for non-profit organizations, not even for charitable organizations. So to that extent, the law firm, for instance, that is looking to offer these services will come in, as I mentioned earlier, as a supporting business. Remember that there's that part as a supporting business partner, and the supporting business partner, it will be clearly articulated. It needs to be clearly articulated on the concept, on the concept that is being submitted, the role of each of the supporting business partners. So if a supporting business partner chooses to come in as a service provider, because that's what I hear you describing, Rennie. So if they choose to come in as a supporting business partner, it must be clear what services will be offered, how it will be offered, when it will be offered. The details have to be clear. And so once this is clearly articulated, I believe that that will be taken. What is important also is that it's good to note that within all of these collaborative groups, the government expects to see what you call a contributing partner agreement. So when this is being submitted, there's an agreement also on the side, where each of the partners and the supporting partners in all of this, in the scheme, would have agreed as to what the role would be and perhaps what the fee would be. What does it cost me to do this? So that at the end of the day, you don't have any altercations, issues within the groups. You get what I mean? So they want to be sure that indeed everyone is collaborating for the good of the community. Yet each person, each group is also well compensated for their efforts.
Thank you so much for clarifying that. Nicole asks, will the BEP loan and grant, so I guess we'll speak to the grant, will it be an ongoing and annual offering? I'm not sure if you will know this, but has there been any talks about this becoming a regular thing that will occur from the government?
Okay. Yannick, do you want to take that, or do you want me to go on?
You can go on. You can go on.
Okay. The annual offering, I'm not sure that, this is the first time this has been offered. So let's keep that in mind, that it was launched by the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, on the 9th of September. The announcement was made. And I guess, I'm not sure, I guess to commemorate the Global Entrepreneurship Month in November, it was like, adding speed, because it was only launched on the 9th of September, but by November 23rd, the announcement had been made that it was open. Everybody can apply now. And remember, the application is for a term of 4 years. So I am not sure if it's going to be an annual one. So that becomes the third question that we're going to ask them on Monday. On Monday. That becomes the third question. But I reckon if a program is opened now in December for submission, and it's going to be for a 4-year term, I think they might still be working it out. And then we have the loan part that are still not opened. And I reckon that will be opened early next year. I'm not sure if they will, I'm not sure how quickly they can administer and disburse to warrant the launch of another one within the same year. So I'm not sure. That's why I said I'm not sure. And those are my thoughts. The reason why I said I'm not sure. However, we can ask the question and then we'll provide you some answers again on the YouTube channel by Monday and our other channels by Monday next week. But keep in mind that when a program like this is open, it is important that we take advantage of it, which is why we're having a session like this afternoon. So as many parties as possible, as many groups as possible, where you think you can leverage your relationships and leverage the benefits of the clout you have in the market, in the industry, you want to partner with as many people as possible and go on and do this. That would be my own opinion, a personal one. But I would think that it might be helpful to do that because we don't know when.
But I think
yes, please.
Maybe to add to what you're saying, because it's a 4-year program, as you rightly said, right? What most likely, and again, this is my thought, the government will do is they would disburse a certain amount every year, look at what the results are for the first, one that they roll out, and then based on that, they will basically, disperse, year 2, year 3, year 4. Obviously, the government cannot go and basically spend all this money all at once without obviously knowing whether it's going to be successful or not. So that's why session like this is very important, because the quality of the first applicants and the first concept note is going to determine how confident they are to be able to disburse a lot more in year 2 to get the most out of it, or even how confident they are to be able to extend the program after, And again, the whole goal, as you rightly mentioned, Doctor, is to help the Black community. And so if, these programs and the different applicants are able to deliver these results that you just put on the chat, then it gives confidence to do more because the program is leading to the result that we are expecting. So we don't know how much it's going to be for year 1. We don't know how much it's going to be for year 2, but I think, as you rightly mentioned, the more, we spend time to provide really good concept note, I think, we'll have a better chance of having more programs going in, and even more programs in the future.
Great. So just to recap that great explanation, we currently do not know if there will be another launch, but it all depends on the success of this current program. So make sure that your applications are well done. Make sure that your businesses, like you're scaling your business for the future sustainably, and hopefully we'll have another round from the government. But obviously we do not know at this point in time. Another question that we have been asked is, if an organization has both not-for-profit and charitable organization status, are they able to apply for the grant?
If they have a charity, did you say charitable status?
They said they have both. They said they are both a charitable organization and a not-for-profit. So they want to know if they are able to apply for both, for the grant.
I believe so, because what it says is, as long as you're a non-profit organization, and I reckon as a non-profit organization, you would have the evidence in terms of registration documents and things like that. I reckon as long as you're able to provide such evidence, such piece of evidence, that should be okay.
Okay, thank you. And there are currently 2 grants as you open at the moment, as you have explained. Is somebody able to apply to both grant programs?
So that's yes. The answer to that is yes. On our discussion, I know that they want they want a situation where only one group gets only one partner organization can receive funding from one fund. I hope I'm making sense. One partner organization can only receive funding from a fund. So if you apply for 2, you can receive from one fund, you can receive from the other fund, but you can't receive as an organization, you can't receive from the same fund applying as 2 different organizations. Do you understand? So for instance, you have an affiliate, so Entrepreneurs Point, using the example of Entrepreneurs Point, Casa Foundation. Casa Foundation and Entrepreneurs Point cannot apply to the same fund under Black Entrepreneurship National Ecosystem Fund. You can only apply as one. Remember, Entrepreneurs Point is affiliated to Casa Foundation. So I hope you understand the difference now. However, Entrepreneurs Point can apply to the BEP, and then Casa Foundation can apply to the Knowledge Hub Fund. I hope it's clear.
Yes, that's clear. Thank you. Another question that we have been asked is, if you are a sole proprietor and you partner, is there a limit to the number of people who can be in the application? So I know you said that you can apply with a number of other partners. Is there a limit to the number of partners who can apply?
No.
So it can be 50 people if we want. Is that correct?
I know that, at least I know I've been part of one that it was 45.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
I know of groups, I know of groups that applied for a total of almost 3 million. And it was almost about 45 organizations in that group. So you see, what that does is actually that it gives the confidence that the consortium is very strong. The ecosystem is very well covered. Various groups within the community will actually benefit. Something like that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And everyone, remember to send your questions in the chat box. We have a chat box on all platforms. So you can send it on Instagram, you can send your questions on Slido, and you can send them on YouTube or in Zoom. Whichever platform you're in, make sure you're sending all of your questions into the chat box. So we'll just wait for a few more questions to come in. We have answered almost 20 questions. So we've answered quite a lot of questions, and we'll be wrapping up shortly. If there are any more, make sure that you leave them in the chat box, as I just said.
Okay, maybe 1 or 2 points, like somebody mentioned the issue of nonprofit. So before the government, what exactly, with the government of Canada, what is the description of a not-for-profit? it would be for not, innovation hubs, groups that are registered as innovation hubs, and they are actually, they are not for profit. Of course, that's very clear. They're not for profit. So the incubators, the accelerators, the organizations that support social enterprises or cooperatives are actually listed as not for profit. So of course, there are various legislations in other provinces. So for instance, in the province of Quebec, there's the M30 legislation that applies to applicants coming in, applicants making, their request from Quebec. And so you will need to perhaps review some of the legislation that applies to your own province. But in line with the definition of the government's not-for-profit organizations, they must be organizations that are either classified as innovation hubs, incubators, accelerators, organizations that support social enterprises and cooperatives, and business and entrepreneur support organizations. Those ones similar to that question you asked, Rennie, earlier on about a law firm providing services to an NPO. So that's very clear on that. So I just wanted to add that as an aside based on what I saw here. And I think in addition to that also, Yannick, do you have a few comments?
No, I wanted to echo your comment about the not-for-profit, and also the fact that, just to remind that the goal here for the ecosystem fund and the loan fund and even the knowledge fund is to obviously increase the number of businesses, the number of Black-led businesses in Canada. And so the first step, as you can imagine, is to create an ecosystem whereby, we don't, we have all the organizations that are supporting, the creation of prosperity within our community, basically working together. So accelerators will be one of them, incubators, things like that. So do we need more? Do we need to set up these, do we need to focus on certain areas where we have a need within the community? Obviously, once you have that ecosystem working, how sustainable is it, which is a big part of the concept as well, is the sustainability of the ecosystem. And obviously, whether past is funding, we can have a sustainable, ecosystem working on its own. So I just wanted to also, remind that the government, and again, it's on their website, you're going to see, it's really, the outcome here is, to have, Black-led organization increase their existing offering, and grow the number of businesses they support. Black entrepreneurs are supported to start and grow their business. The number of Black-owned businesses in Canada grows. Gender diversity is supported. So really, this is these are the outcomes. So just to keep that in mind as well. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So again, the goal of this fund is to increase the number of Black-owned businesses in the country. We want to make sure we're building up the Black community. So everyone, make sure you take advantage of this. It is a great opportunity that we're blessed to have right now. Another question that we're getting from Instagram is, what should a partnership look like? Dr. Twain, do you want to answer that?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. The partnership. In terms of partnership, I'd mentioned earlier the collaborators, the supporting business groups, and so on. For partnerships, the strength of a partnership, the expectation is that groups come together as a partnership, and then that strength will be inherent in maybe the number of ecosystems that are supported or that they represent. And so there's strength when you see maybe 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 groups coming together representing diverse communities, so that there's strength in that. So they reckon that that should cover as many groups as possible. So that's what a partnership should be. However, even when associations come together representing the various communities to partner for this, the expectation also is that there will be other supporting groups. So take, for instance, Moroccan, Rwandan, Malian association coming together, as examples, just typical example. And then they have a law firm that is able to also help them look through the paperwork and all of that. Then they have a supporting business group also that comes on board to offer training services, financial literacy organization, those ones that are well-versed, maybe a CFP group that can offer financial literacy, and it doesn't have to be Black-led. Remember, you have 33% of another group that can actually come on board. So that, because of the goal and because of the project that is to be delivered, then you carefully choose those partners, whether they're from the business sector or from the services sector. And they all come together representing the various aspects of the project: the marketing group, the branding group, the financial literacy group for training purposes, and so on. So this actually is what constitutes a partnership, a group of people, various people, although like-minded, and they must also demonstrate the fact that they've perhaps done some work together. They just don't want, strange bedfellows, if you get what I mean, different people, people that have never connected before, and they're now just coming together because it's a project to be done. They want a situation where you don't come together and then within a month, you're not able to work together. You get what I mean? So they want a situation where, for instance, your accountant, who has actually been working with you, is able to come on board with you because he understands your books. They want a situation where your legal practitioner, for instance, is also able to come on board because they're able to check your resources, the documents. And if it's a partnership, somebody needs to be checking the agreements that you're going into. Remember, you have what you call the contribution agreement. So who is going to earn what fees? And when will the fees be delivered? What is the budgeting for staff? So all of this, of course, will come under budgeting. How many people will work with us? How will it be administered? Do we need 3 contract staff? Do we need 2? Do we need volunteers? So all of this must be clearly articulated in the budget. And the accountant, it will be helpful. Nobody has said it's optional, but I reckon that people will expect that an accountant would help us check and see before we submit. There is also the part where when we're signing agreements, whether it's a collaborative agreement or whatever, an agreement to collaborate, a letter of support. So there's another thing called a letter of support, which has to be submitted. So within the partnership, you have maybe 3, 4, 5 groups. There must be a letter of support from them, each one confirming that they will be on hand to support the delivery of whatever project is being executed. So this is also very critical. All of this will make up the group. However, within that group will be the lead partner, because only one partner will be given the funds, or the funds will be disbursed to only one partner. And that partner is actually the partner that has a responsibility to make reports, sending reports, and so on. It's very important.
Great, thank you for that clarification. So I really see it's a community effort. As long as 66% of your group is Black, or Black identifying, then you can partner with as many people as you want and really bring in lots of experts to make the best business possible. So I think this is a great opportunity for all of us. We do have a few more questions, but I know our time is running out. So would you like to continue, or should we end it now and then we can have another session at the later time?
Yeah, okay, I think you can. Thank you, Rennie. Yannick, are you able to take 1 or 2 more questions in the chat room? Maybe you can look at it. I see a few more. She's asking.
Okay, sure, we can do maybe 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, I see we have 5 or so. Let's see.
Okay, so I have one from Orisha.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I have one from Orisha Burns, and she would like to know, if we could hear a reclarification on applying to multiple funds. So right now we have the 2 funds that are available, the grant programs. Is the restriction that the recipient or one partner can only receive funds from one fund? Does that mean that an organization could be in 2 partnership groups applying to either fund, so long as the applying partner is unique?
Okay. Now this is very specific. So I think that I know for sure that only one partner can receive funds, but that, that's the lead partner. And so you are asking about the support or groups within the support, Rennie? Is that what
they would like to apply. So maybe they have a group, a partnership, and they would like to apply for 2 different funds. However, they're wondering if they're able to apply if the principal applicant is different on both of those applications. Maybe we can ask this person to email us, and then we can.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can definitely ask.
If you can respond, can somebody help us send? Let the person get in touch with us, and we will.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll answer that question by email and get some more clarity on that. Okay.
Okay. I guess we'll add. Go ahead.
There's one more that would, I think Cheryl is telling people about bad business or financial difficulties. Maybe Yannick wants to clarify that. Did you see that question?
Which one is, okay. So
so the question, I'll read the question aloud. The question is, what if you have taken over a business that has a bad financial history? How difficult would it be to access these funds during application?
So I can't tell because obviously I'm not, in the minds of the government. But what I can tell is that obviously it reduces your chance because you're going to compete with other organizations. And as Dr. Tony said, you want to meet the requirements. You want to meet the requirements from financial reporting perspective, from a history and experience perspective, and a good standing perspective, obviously. So it makes, we don't know the answer, but it definitely makes it tougher. And that's where maybe this is a case where you collaborate with another organization, maybe as an individual or else, if you really want to participate. But definitely it would make it difficult.
Yes, and Cheryl actually added to that by saying, if your business has had financial difficulties or bad press in the past, it would be best to partner with another NGO whose history is clean. And then I guess they can be the principal applicant.
Yeah. And the other question, the one before, which was whether you can partner or you can be an applicant to 2 different funds. Now, technically, when you look at the website and the information, you could be, but remember, one fund is an ecosystem fund. So really, if you think about the lead partner, it should be somebody who has experience building ecosystem or, networking and all that to be able to really have a strong case. The second one is a knowledge hub. Again, so it should be like somebody or an organization with experience with like research and it's like knowledge and partnering with university. And so, can you be both at the same time? I think that's also where we have to be careful and make sure that we go where we can show strength within sort of our applicants, especially for the lead partner, so that we have a strong case, right? Because they're going to look at history, they're going to look at your experience, your capacity, and so you have to also be mindful of that.
Thank you, Yannick. I believe we're at time now, and we want to be respectful of everyone's time. So thank you so much for joining us. If your question wasn't answered, you can please send all your questions to info@casafoundation.ca. We'll leave that in the chat. so that you can you can email us and you will have your questions answered there. You can also send it on Instagram, and the Instagram again is Entrepreneurs PP. So I'll now hand it over to Ife, who will do the closing remarks.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Sorry,
so
I just
much.
want to say thank you, Dr. Toyin and Yannick, for joining us on the panel as well.
Thank you so much, Rennie, and thank you, Dr. Latoya and Yannick. Wow, like that was amazing. Again, everyone, thank you for joining us at this wonderful virtual event on the Black Entrepreneurship Program. I know I have gained a lot of insight today, and I feel confident enough to write my concept note for the BEP ecosystem funds, and I really hope you do too. Thank you so much to our esteemed speakers, Dr. Olutoyin, Yannick, Cheryl, who was helping out in the chats. You guys have been amazing. Such great wealth of experience. To our chat room managers, our tech partners, Afro-Canadian, to the event organizers. Thank you so much for all your work. Also, thank you, Rennie. You were great in moderation. To all the participants of today, thank you for participating actively. Let us know if we can be help to you too. Don't forget to send an email to info@casafoundation.ca if you have any other questions that weren't answered. Again, that's info@casafoundation.ca. Application for Black Entrepreneurs Knowledge Hub closes on December 21st at 2 p.m. So do not wait till the deadline. Submit it as soon as possible. Remember to connect with Entrepreneurs PP or Entrepreneurs Points in all socials so you can sign up for these sessions as the funds open. And please be on the lookout as we will be having more sessions. I know one's coming up in January. Also, as we end this, please do complete a survey we will be sending out so we know how to make your experience at these sessions better. So again, I just want to thank everyone for participating. Stay safe, and we definitely look forward to seeing and connecting with you all again.